This photograph showed the man they believed they were hunting. The man walking through the Norwegian night on July 21, 1973, was Ahmed Bouchikhi, a waiter heading home with his pregnant wife. Earlier, Marianne Gladnikoff had looked at that photograph, looked at Ahmed, and doubted they were the same man. She raised it with the others. She was part of a roughly 15-person operation connected to Mossad, Israel's foreign intelligence service. The surviving record does not tell us whether that doubt reached anyone who could stop what came next. At about 10:40 that night, Ahmed was shot on an open street while his wife stood with him. By the next morning, 2 of them were in Norwegian custody, caught returning a rental car. 6 would stand trial. 5 would be convicted. 9 would escape. How did a large professional operation build a precise route to the wrong man and leave police a route back into the team? The official Norwegian inquiry said the intended target was generally assumed to be Ali Hassan Salameh, a senior Black September figure Israel associated with the Munich attack. It did not establish that Salameh was ever in Norway, and it could not settle every command decision behind the operation. What it could reconstruct was the chain that put Ahmed inside the surveillance net. The team had followed another man, Kemal Ben Arman, north to Lillehammer. At a cafe, they saw Ben Arman talking with another man. That man was Ahmed, a waiter whose Saturday would include a swim, a movie with his wife, and a walk home. There is no evidence that Ahmed identified himself as Salameh, arranged a militant meeting, or knew he had just become the center of an intelligence operation. A conversation placed him in the chain. The team supplied the suspicion. On Saturday morning, members of the group saw Ahmed on his way to a swimming pool. Marianne Gladnikoff and another operative went inside. Marianne swam near Ahmed and a man he was speaking with so she could hear their language. She heard French. That answered one narrow question: what language was being spoken at the pool? It did not answer the question that mattered: whether this waiter was the senior militant the team expected. Outside, more of the group joined the tale. They followed Ahmed to the apartment block where he lived. The operation now knew where he swam, where he walked, and which doorway he used. Every new observation made the surveillance more exact. None of those observations proved his identity. Cars took positions outside Ahmed's home. One rental car stayed on watch. Sometimes more. Others drove past the building. The scale is the contradiction. Roughly 15 people, multiple cars, overlapping assignments, and one unresolved identity. Gladnikoff had seen the photograph of the man the group expected Ben Arman to meet. The declassified court record says she was in strong doubt that Ahmed was that man because the picture did not resemble him. It also says she told the others. What the record does not show is who treated that doubt as decisive, who passed it upward, or whether it ever entered the final decision. That is the central fact. The warning existed inside a machine that kept moving. At about 7:30 that evening, Ahmed left the apartment with his wife. They walked into town and went to the cinema. The group shifted with them. Operatives covered the exits, waited on foot, and sat in rental cars with radios. By then, the team had 5 rental cars in play. This was no longer a quick visual check. It was a moving perimeter around 2 people watching a film. When the movie ended, the couple emerged into the night, and the tale closed behind them again. The operation could now report where Ahmed had been almost hour by hour. It still had not resolved the face in the photograph. Minutes later, the surveillance ended on the street near his home. It was about 10:40 at night. Ahmed and his wife were walking home from the cinema through the last few minutes of an ordinary Saturday. He waited tables in this town. She was pregnant. They were nearly home. He was shot in front of her, on the open street. The later inquiry found no evidence that Ahmed was the militant target the team had been sent to find. The man at the center of the surveillance was a Moroccan waiter living in Lillehammer. The man the operation generally believed it was hunting was not confirmed to be in Norway at all. Most of the group moved beyond the reach of Norwegian police. But the escape was not complete. A rental car was about to turn the operation around. On Sunday morning, Marianne Gladnikoff and Dan Airbell went to Fornebu to return a rental car. Norwegian police arrested both of them. Information they gave investigators pointed to another location and other participants. Police moved from 2 people at an airport to an apartment, then deeper into the network. The operation had spent days learning Ahmed's movements. Now investigators were learning the operation's movements from its own members. 6 people were eventually arrested and tried. 9 escaped. The Norwegian record concluded that the group had contained about 15 people in all. The people who got away took the roles, the orders, and crucial command questions with them. But the part of the team that police reached had already left enough of a trail for a public trial. 5 defendants were convicted of offenses connected to the operation. 1 was acquitted. The sentences ranged from 1 year to 5 years and 6 months. A later Norwegian inquiry rejected claims that Norwegian officials had helped the operation, while criticizing how records were handled afterward. Inside the judgment was the detail the operation had failed to settle before the killing: the photograph. Gladnikoff's account did not say she knew everything, understood the operation's lethal purpose, or held authority to stop it. It said something narrower and harder to dismiss. She saw the picture, doubted that Ahmed was the same man because he did not resemble it, and raised that doubt with others in the group. The mismatch existed before the killing. It survived afterward in the court record. The photograph was supposed to help establish identity. It became evidence of how uncertain the identification had been. The cafe proved that Ahmed had spoken to a man under surveillance. The pool, the cars, and the cinema proved where he was, hour by hour. None of it proved that Ahmed was Salameh. The pattern visible in the record is not a shortage of information. It is information answering the wrong questions. The one item that directly compared the 2 faces produced strong doubt. The rest of the operation produced momentum. More people, more cars, and more precise observation did not correct the original assumption. They made the route to the wrong man increasingly exact. 5 convictions made part of the covert operation public. 9 escapes kept part of it in shadow. The intended target was still only generally assumed, and crucial command decisions remained outside the surviving Norwegian record. None of those limits changed the central finding. Ahmed was not the man the team had been sent to find. The court could document the mismatch and the doubt. It could not reconstruct every decision between them and the street. In 1996, Israel compensated Ahmed's widow and 2 sons. Norway's National Encyclopedia describes that payment as an indirect acceptance of responsibility. No payment gave the family back the man on that street. In the Norwegian judgment, the photograph reappears as evidence. It was the one object in the operation that directly compared the expected target with Ahmed, and the operative who saw both came away doubting. The operation knew exactly where Ahmed Bouchikhi was. It never proved who he was.